Your clearance on the elbow or something?
No, boot plate and yourself to the truss.
I can see all of that. If you give me a pure nadir motion, a pure port motion, the clearance is going to remain the same. But do what you guys need to do.
Okay, we're gonna bring you forward only a little bit.
Okay, whatever you guys need to do, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere without you.
Okay, motion start. Station forward.
Station forward, thank you. Good motion. You're bringing me forward. Yep, yeah, okay.
Okay, next maneuver is station port.
Copy.
Meter.
Good motion.
Okay, good motion. Centimeters to go.
I will give you a countdown. I'd say about 10 more centimeters.
Copy 10.
3, 2, 1, stop motion.
Motion.
And then if you could bring me a nadir, maybe about half a meter, and I can reach this bag quite comfortably.
The half meter station nadir. Motion start.
I'm entirely clear.
C.
Good motion.
Almost there, 50 centimeters.
I'll give you a countdown. Continue.
Continue.
3, 2, 1, stop motion.
Motion.
I need a little bit more port. I undershot there, but maybe about another 10, 15 centimeters.
Copy. 10 centimeters. Station port. Starting. Centimeters.
Good motion. Another 5 centimeters.
Another 5.
3, 2, 1, stop motion. Let me just make sure I can reach this. Okay, that'll work, guys.
Copy. Brake is on.
Okay, the ret is back on the bag for the RBVMs. I'm putting my ERT ret to this bag. It was a small that was on there. Got my BRT ret on the bag. Want the adjustable off. We should have grabbed my PGT.
Hey, Drew, back with you real quick. We're checking on the turns of that antenna plate because we had those Velcro straps underneath, so stand by one.
Yeah.
And there's no way for me to remove the Velcro because the pad, actual pad, is under where the plate is. So.
Yeah, Drew, we totally understand that. We're just checking and making sure that we're in good shape.
That one of them is not totally flat. I can give you a picture of it.
Andrew, could you repeat your last?
Yeah, I'm looking at number 1, and the tab slightly doubled on it. If you've got KU, but.
Yeah, we have KU a little ratty.
It's down solid. I don't see any gaps along it, really.
Copy, no gaps.
I don't see the gap. Gap looks even. It's a little bowed in the middle on the long axis, but at the ends where the bolts are, those ends of the diving board, those pads are down hard against the surface. Okay, Aki, just for a status, I took my GoPro. It's on the front of my mini workstation. The PGT is now on my swing arm. I'm removing the rut from the bag. It is redded to the swing arm as well. I have the medium ORU bag currently on my BRT rut, and I'll be putting it on the BRT here in a second.
Copy. Can we get a glove and hat check?
In a minute. Yep, absolutely. E1's gloves are changed from egress and hat is dry.
Copy. Ricky.
EV2's hat is dry.
Copy that. And Ricky, reminder for you, GoPro, you can turn it on.
It's on, thank you. Just in time for
Copy.
night.
Yes, absolutely.
One hour, 5 minutes into today's spacewalk. The view from Ricky Arnold's helmet camera as he is now in place, ready to begin work to remove a pair of flex hoses, or jumpers as they are called, from one of 6 radiator beam valve modules. This particular pair of flex hoses suspected of leaking. The particular valve module in question was vented some time ago, so there's no impact to any of the coolant for the loops on the International Space Station. This providing a perfect opportunity to remove those flex hoses, bring them back to Earth to be repaired and replaced.
Drew, if you're ready, I'm going to take comm whenever you guys are ready. I'm ready for Baker to start magic. I think they're in a handover, so I can't.
Hey guys, back with you. For Drew, we would like you to hit those bolts, all 4 of them, same setting, Bravo 2, clockwise 2, one more time. And with that, Ricky, you have the comm, and you guys can back off.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to keep this bag really close up front rather than let it sit to the side where I can keep an eye on it. I don't know if that's how you guys did it in the pool, but I'll give it a shot and see how it works.
That's a good
copy of the request, Aki. Okay. If we have a comm, Maker, I'm ready for whatever you need to do. I'm just doing a double check. My ingress eight's tucked in.
change in my safety tether, and I still could not see anything but the forward face of the station. Don't forget to put your visor up. Oh, that'll help.
That's good, Ricky. The next maneuver is to the published position, no DCA required. First, we will bring you to the starboard, then station forward and later a little bit.
Sounds good.
Taxi is already off and manual, so if you are ready, we're going to start the station starboard.
Ready.
Starboard, 1 meter. Motion started.
Motion.
To go.
This view of Ricky Arnold at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm, which is being maneuvered by Scott Tingle from the cupola workstation, the robotics workstation in the cupola, assisted by Norishige Kanai, who helped suit up the astronauts in the wee hours this morning. Now 1 hour, 8 minutes into today's spacewalk. Meanwhile, Drew Feustel is wrapping up work with a series of bolts on debris shields on the forward end cone of the Tranquility module. He soon will be installing the first of a pair of wireless antennas on Tranquility that will be used to relay payload data from an environmental monitoring payload to be launched on a future SpaceX Dragon cargo craft.
If you hit the bolts, could you give us the turn counts?
I hit bolt 1 3 times. The first time, I guess it turned about a 16th, maybe. And then the other 2 times, nothing. I just hit bolt 3 on 0405. Good green light. 2 turns. And I'm going to go for bolt 3 on 0406.
I see nadir motion, guys.
Drew, could you repeat your the turn count for bolt 3?
Turn count was 0 for bolt 3. And on
Copy,
bolt
0.
3, panel 0406, also 0.
Copy.
Ricky, we are preparing the next maneuver, JOCAS.
Okay.
And 0 turns on both bolt 3s.
Copy. And that was the last bolt, correct?
Negative. I'm going to go do bolt 2 again.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bolt 2. Maybe a 16th.
Okay, Drew, thanks a lot.
Thank you for waiting. We are ready.
Welcome. No turns. I'm done.
All right, Drew, thanks a lot. You can release the ret from the antenna. We did get your glove and half check, so we're good. You can stow the PGT in the medium or you bag as required, and then with the bag, so that on the BRT, translate up zenith.
Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I've got the red already off the antenna. I've got the PGT floating, and I'm going to pull out the antenna cable, also keep it with me, and just drift up here. It's 2 handrails away. 3. 2, 3.
I see my gloves, CB2 gloves are good, hat is dry.
And if you are ready, we're going to start JOCAS, 5 minutes maneuver.
I'm ready.
This view from Drew Feustel's helmet camera. He has completed the installation of the first of the two antennas on the nadir, or Earth-facing side of the Tranquility module, and now about to work for the installation of the second of the two antennas. Once he cleans up that work site, he will join Ricky Arnold over on the Port 1 truss. Once Arnold is finished with the removal of a pair of flex hoses or jumpers for one of the radiator beam valve modules on the coolant components of the station to remove and replace this faulty camera assembly on the upper outboard side of the Port 1 truss.
What we're doing anyways? Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a bat in the darkness on the monitor here.
There's a funny story about bats that you need to hear at some point. Funny story. Kind of.
And Drew, I think you're already there at the zenith side. Are you there?
What's that?
Yep, so Tempsto location is handrail 0607 if you're looking for that.
Okay, stand by. Maker, the lower boom's coming into vision on my right side. What I can see looks good, but it's pretty limited.
Copy.
Ricky Arnold taking a ride at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm as the International Space Station flies just to the north of Vladivostok, Russia, on the far eastern shores of Russia, about to pass over the Sea of Japan, just south of Sapporo, Japan.
Radiator beam, wait a couple of minutes, up to 5 minutes to allow the response to dissipate.
Okay, copy, Yaki. If I kick the radiator beam, we have bigger problems.
That is correct.
Although coming into view, Maker looks nice and clear.
Roger.
Actually, I can see just about the whole arm except for the boom right behind me.
One hour, 15 minutes into our spacewalk today. This view, which has been intermittent through the course of the spacewalk from Drew Feustel's helmet camera, as he makes his way to the top side or the zenith side of the Tranquility module to install the second of a pair of wireless antennas for payload data retrieval.
And make sure the zenith antenna pointing zenith.
With the antenna pointing zenith?
Yep.
That's up. Yeah. I can't really tell what way that is right now.
I think that you got it right.
That's right. I certainly can't tell.
Yeah, we have the view.
Let me set the docks here.
So, Drew, you need to depress the release buttons to arm the soft dock and then slide the handrail into the seat track. And then you just push the handrail.
I'm just realizing it only slides one way. Or it looks like
there should be
slide one way.
There should be an arrow on the underside that shows which direction that it needs to slide.
On the underside. It's a good place for it.
Yep, it's there. Yep.
I saw it.
Mackie, while we have a moment, I'm just sitting here looking at the bag just to confirm. I got 3 wire ties, and I think 3. And triple wire tie around I think the idea is we're going to wrap the jumpers around and tie them 3 times.
Standby checking.
With 3 wire ties, I'm assuming that's where it's going.
Okay. Up back. And Ricky, we're just setting up for the next leg of the joint OCAS.
Copy, Maker.
Alpha 2, clockwise 2. Ready for PGT. Copy. On the go.
Copy. Alpha 2, clockwise 2. Expect 8 turns. Make sure it's fully seated first, and then you can drive the 2 bolts. Give us the torque turns and light.
Okay. Alpha 2, clockwise 2, 8 turns, torque turns and light.
And for Ricky, just a heads up, big picture-wise, first you're going to start with the NZGLs.
Oh, I was just looking at the config of the bag, making sure I understood. Yeah, we're going to do the NZGL. We got to cut some lanyards. We're going to bundle those up. We got 3 wire ties. Then we're going to move on. We're going to cap those, then move on to the jumpers and cap those.
Yep, that's correct.
Ricky Arnold reporting that he is well into the work for his part of this spacewalk as he begins to demate a number of line heaters for the various flex hoses, the 2 flex hoses that are being removed, suspected of being leaking flex hoses on this radiator beam valve module. This component that is designed to control the transfer of ammonia between the radiator components on the International Space Station and the rest of the thermal control system loops. And the helmet camera view from Drew Feustel as he installs the second of 2 wireless antennas, this one on the space-facing side of the Tranquility module.
Copy.
Again, this will be used to relay payload data for a payload known as EcoStress that will be delivered to the International Space Station on a future SpaceX Dragon cargo flight. The EcoStress experiment will be mounted robotically on the experiment porch on the front side of the Japanese Kibo module to measure the temperature of plants back on Earth and plant vegetation, and to use that information to understand how much water plants require based on the level of environmental stress they are subjected to.
Copy, 3.8.
You got it set to Alpha 2, 3.8, both bolts 3.8, green light, both bolts. Second bolt was 9.5 turns.
Copy all, thank you. All right, all good numbers. That antenna is installed, so you can still PGT. Next, we're going to route the EWC cable.
Copy. Baker, I have your lower boom to the radiator.
Copy. So, Drew, if you like, you can stow that PGT in the medium ORU bag.
So the Zenith antenna now installed, and Feustel will wrap up this part of his spacewalking work by routing a series of cables to provide connectivity between the newly installed antennas and the Tranquility module.
Mackie, we're going after RBVM 0013.
Yep, that is the right one. RBVM-2-0113.
Okay, copy.
And if you get closer, verify back clearance with the radiator.
Again?
Yeah, just make sure that the bag is clear with the radiator when you get close.
Yep, I will. Thank you. And remind me again, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ricky, we are ready to maneuver to the RBVM position if you are.
I am ready.
Okay, let us configure manual mode. This is gonna be GCA to published. So first we're gonna station forward, then station starboard.
Okay, copy.
And the first maneuver is station forward 1 meter.
Okay, copy.
So start station forward.
I see the motion.
To go.
Aki, we're going after the most outboard jumpers, correct?
Checking.
Hey, Ricky, next maneuver is station starboard 1.5 meters.
Okay, copy. Watching the bag.
Ricky, Zenith jumpers, and we're going to the NZGLs first.
I'm just trying to take the picture you guys gave me and put it to what I'm seeing. The boom looks like it's going to clear. I know you're probably a little nervous, but it looks okay from here.
Sounds good. Thank you.
This view from Drew Feustel's helmet camera as he routes the cables associated with the two wireless antennas that he has installed on the Tranquility module. Meanwhile, Ricky Arnold is working right now on the early stage of the removal of various heater lines known as NZGLs, that stands for NASA Zero-G line heaters, that are part of the two jumpers or flex hoses that he'll be removing from a radiator beam valve module on the truss of the station.
Yeah, let's stop motion here. Just make
Motion.
sure I have the alignment right, because we might. Aki, could you read some numbers for those NCGLs?
So the RBVM itself is RBVM-2-0113. The heater cables are Whiskey 5176 and 77.
5177 and 5176. They're coming off these jumpers. I see the two P clamps right on the V guide. It looks like the NZGLs are up closer to the RBVM, so I might need to go back to I'm sorry to do this to you, but back to my right, if that's correct. I see Whiskey 177
And Ricky, you should have the first step is releasing the TA clamps. So just look for those first.
Okay, the one's right here in front of me. I'll just making sure I'm releasing.
1 hour, 26 minutes into today's spacewalk by Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold. Everything continuing to proceed on track after the crew began their spacewalk behind schedule per the clock today due to a slightly longer requirement for leak checks on Drew Feustel's suit. Continuing to take questions on hashtag AskNASA for social media followers of our activities. The next question up is Leonie Oakley, who asks, how do they regulate the temperatures inside their suits? They do have a temperature regulator knob as part of their controls on their suits so that they can either cool down or warm up depending on which cycle of sunset or daylight the International Space Station is passing through. So that's how they regulate temperatures inside their extravehicular mobility units. Meher asks, what is the significance of the red stripes on Drew Feustel's spacesuit? Nothing more than to distinguish him from Ricky Arnold. EV1, or extravehicular crew member number 1, always wears a suit bearing the red stripes. The other crew member would not have stripes on his suit, in this case Ricky Arnold. It's basically a visual distinction that provides situational awareness for the ground controllers here as they watch the activities on cameras outside the International Space Station. Again, keep sending your questions to hashtag AskNASA. We'll get to as many as time permits during the course of today's spacewalk.
Once I get it, I'll take a look and made it. The D-clamps are released, and I closed them back up with the cables not in them, and I'm ready to go after the NZGLs if you are just getting the scissors out.
Okay, copy that. Yeah. So next step was to cut the lacing cord with the scissors and stow any debris in your trash bag.
Copy that. Maker, I'm going to need to head over in that general direction. I'll give you directions here in a second. It's probably going to have to be internal, but to me.
Exactly.
You're watching The View from Drew Feustel's camera. The conversation you're hearing is with Ricky Arnold as he is in the process of being positioned by Scott Tingle, who's operating the station's robotic arm from the cupola workstation, as he releases line heaters and clamps before removing several flex hose quick disconnect cables, holding those flex hoses for the radiator beam valve module that we're removing the flex hoses from today. We're now an hour and a half into today's spacewalk, planned for about 6.5 hours, as Feustel and Arnold continue their work pretty much on the timeline.
They're going to manual now. Okay, we are starting your maneuver to the right.
Feels like I'm moving a little bit to my left.
We are checking. We just gave you a positive yeah, but if you're telling us that's the wrong direction, we'll give you a negative yeah, and we'll get you where you want to go.
Yeah, and it might, okay, yeah, let's do that, and it might be all the way the arm moves. Let's go ahead and try that.
In motion.
Hey, good 10, no foul, good. Yeah, that feels better, Maker, thanks.
Copy, Drew.
Continue.
Continue.
2 made it.
Copy. Verify over center.
Continue.
I probably go about, we got to go about 120 degrees, 30 degrees, 20 degrees or so.
20 more.
Over center. You.
Copy. Continue.
Maker, I'm not really able to help you out too much with the arm.
Roger that. 10 to go.
Yeah, this is not good. Let's go, let's ramp out that motion for right now, because I think the arm's trying to make this work. Let's go body right.
Copy. Body right.
I am clear.
Probably about 20 to 30 centimeters, Maker.
Copy. 20 centimeters. Body right.
That's good motion.
Copy. Good motion.
Continue. Continue.
Continue. Just about 20 centimeters now.
Yeah, let's keep going a little bit further. It'll make Maker happier. It's getting me away from the beam here.
Exactly.
Okay, let's 3, 2, 1, stop motion.
Motion.
And if you could take me just toward my head, maybe about 20 centimeters. Great.
Copy. Towards body headward, to the head, 20 centimeters.
I'm sitting on top of Whiskey 5177 and Whiskey 5176. Good motion. Continue.
Copy. Good motion.
Continue. Continue. 3, 2, 1. Let's stop there.
Copy.
Okay, Aki, I can cut this lanyard and not leave any, just leave it hanging on the thing, or I can leave it on the jumper to bring it back in. How about if I just leave it on the jumper to bring it back in? On the NZGL.
That's fine, Ricky. And just wanted to confirm GCA complete.
Yeah, GCA complete.
GCA complete. Brakes are on.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
And Ricky, we can bring it in if you like. And for Drew, we see you replace the PMA cover. Just wanted to make sure that the PMA cover is covering the CBM sealing surface.
Can you see it in my WVS?
Yeah, we think it's good. I just wanted to double check with you.
Covering where the pedal was. Yep, it's still over the pedal. And the cable's just sitting in there next to the other three. Not secured on anything near the caps. Was that your intent?
Checking.
Two.
Aki, I'm ready for connector steps. I have the caps ready. Montavano's got to be thrilled. Every one of his cap keeper French hooks, except for 2, are occupied.
Yeah, Drew, first of all, Drew, we're good with that. And for Ricky, NZGL's teammate, the NZGL's P782, P783.
Do it.
And for Drew, yeah, you can retrieve the blue cable leg, that's the P5 leg, and then route it to the nadir antenna.
Copy.
All of that conversation between spacewalk communicator Aki Hoshide here in Mission Control and the 2 spacewalkers, Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold, 1 hour 36 minutes into our spacewalk today, pertaining to Feustel continuing work to route cables for 2 newly installed wireless antennas on the Tranquility module that will be used in the future to relay payload data from an environmental monitoring payload to be launched on a future SpaceX Dragon cargo flight. Ricky Arnold, meanwhile, is in the process of releasing heaters and clamps for a pair of flex hoses on a radiator beam valve module on the truss of the station that will be removed, those 2 flex hoses for that particular valve module component to be removed and returned to Earth for repair.
It's 76. And 77. You ready to put a cap on?
Yeah, you once you remove those 2 jump NZGLs, you can retrieve the cap and mate to the panel.
I have the caps already.
Copy.
Okay.
And Aki, do you want any of these wire ties to the stovepipes?
Yeah, what we have in the plan is go all the way to the nadir antenna, make that connection first, and then we'll go back. On the way back up, we'll secure the cables with a wire tie.
Okay.
Ricky, did you get both connectors demated?
They're both demated. They were a little sticky, so the cap's a little sticky going in. I have one of them capped. Moving on to the next one.
Copy.
And Aki, just so you know, there are some little P-clamps around the radius of the docking compartment that are not currently being occupied. I don't know if those would come in handy or not.
Copy P-clamps.
Okay, Aki, they're capped.
Copy 2 caps, thanks.
And I'm tucking these NGGLs somewhere where it'll probably be a little bit shaded.
That is correct. Shade the demated connectors from the direct sunlight. And next Next you're going to go to the P clamps. You can GCA. Give me a chance to talk to Drew before that.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, Drew. So yeah, basically we're going to stick with the plan. We'll just use wire ties to secure it.
Okay.
And once you're at the nadir antenna, you can inspect the connectors and mate P5 to J5 on the antenna.
Okay. And back. Take a look at the connectors.
Thank you. And Ricky, when you're ready, you have the comm.
Okay.
We are ready, Ricky.
All right, I'm just looking for the P-clamp. I think they're kind of in the sun. If you want to get your visor.
I got it.
All righty.
Tools, tethers, everything looks okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine too.
Ricky, make sure we saw the scissors maybe opened, not closed and locked. So just be careful when you put your hands in the crew lock bag.
Oh yeah, good call. I see them in there. All right, thank you.
Okay, good no good EMI bands. One for the.
Hey, Aki, could you vector me to these P clamps? I'm not seeing them. Obviously, they're on the beam side of the jumper. Sure if you have WVS.
So yeah, we see the WVS. You see that the structure pointing out and where the bend is on the jumper, right where your left hand is.
Yeah.
It should be there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to fly. I don't see anything obvious. That's why I thought they were right here where my left hand is.
Yeah, you might have to fly towards your feet to see it.
Okay, copy that. So, Nemo, would you go ahead and take the towards my feet, please?
Okay, towards your feet, how much centimeters do you need?
Probably like 25. These things up.
Copy, towards the feet, 25. Motion start.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
Maker, you look clear to me.
Copy.
Ah, there they are. Okay, continue.
Continue.
3, 2, 1, up. Actually, can I cut body left just a little bit?
Copy, body left.
Motion. I've got the boom maker
Copy.
Continue. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Yeah, okay, I think these are my clamps right here, right in front of me. They have to be because they're pulled the jumper in. Should work, Demo.
Okay. GCA complete.
GCA complete.
Brakes are on. You are go for the task.
Copy, GCA complete. Ricky, do you see the P clamp?
I do. They're right in front of me now. They were just hiding.
Copy. PGT settings will be Alpha 3 counterclockwise 2.
I was about to impress you with my memory. Or my Fresnel lenses, one or the other.
Drew, how are you doing?
Doing good. Tied down a cable at 0662. I don't know if you have WVS. That's in front of me now.
Okay, 0662.
And the first wire tie was on 0610, radial circular handrail, nearby the major antenna. And I'm working my way back up to clean up the rest of the cable and take out some of the slack.
Okay, copy that. And if you need to use another wire tie, make sure that you get it from the caddy, not your BRT, because you'll probably need the BRT wire tie later.
It just looks like the ones that we have are plenty to tie it down and take up the slack.
Okay, copy that.
Okay,
and
I'll give you a good view of it when I'm done.
Copy. And just wanted to confirm you got over center on that connector on the P5J5.
Affirmative. Both connectors over center. Yep.
Copy that. Thank you very much.
Good bands.
And Ricky, you're looking at
1 hour 45 minutes into the spacewalk. You've been looking at various helmet camera views. Currently, Ricky Arnold's helmet camera, as he uses a pistol grip tool to remove some clamps that are holding a pair of flex hoses in place on a radiator beam valve module, a coolant component on the truss of the International Space Station. Drew Feustel, meanwhile, is wrapping up the routing of cables for a pair of wireless antennas that were installed by him a short time ago on both the zenith and nadir sides of the Tranquility module on the International Space Station for a payload that will be delivered to the station soon on a SpaceX Dragon resupply mission.
Yeah, if you're ready. I don't know if you got WVS, or did you guys want photos of this stuff? Or both?
checking. Yeah, we'll just take WVS survey, which you already doing.
Okay, we're running back down the node, end cone, and coming into the hatch area. Yeah, I think they're released. I'm not going to get any indication until I try to remove the jumper, I don't believe.
Okay, stand by. So you're saying that you've gotten more than 13 turns, is that right?
At least, oh yeah, easily.
Okay, copy.
I mean, it looks like they're free. It looks like they're free spinning. But the.
Copy. Stand by. Let us check.
Okay, the top one's done. If I just pull on the jumper. Top one is definitely. I'm going to put a few more turns on the bottom one.
Okay, Ricky, we are good with that. So next would be the RBVM QDs.
Okay, I'm just putting a few more turns on this Nader one. It's Nader to me.
Okay, copy that. And Drew?
Yep, the top one I was able to, yeah. Yeah, Aki, go ahead.
Yeah, Drew, we'll take an inventory when you have a chance for the medium Mori bag.
Okay. I got you a couple pictures as well.
Yeah, thanks for the pictures.
Okay, that has to be released. Top one, I can pull on the jumper and see that it's moving off of the P-clamp, but the other one, it might be that just the jumper's so rigid.
And Ricky, you got more than 13 turns, is that right?
Yep, so I'm stopping. I think what I'm going to do is go after the ones closer to the beam and daylight. And that way, if we're still here at the night pass, it makes Maker's visibility a little bit better.
So Ricky, you're saying do the radiator side first?
Yeah, well, it's daylight.
Okay, we're good with that. So before I hand over comm to Maker, we're coming up on a handover, but for Drew, we'll take an inventory after the handover, and then we'll do this GCA.
Okay, yep, and I'm ready with the inventory when you are.
Okay, Ricky, we are ready to GCA.
Yeah, stand by for the
Okay,
GCA.
I'm going to need to...
Let us do the inventory first.
I need to... I think I'm the long pole right now. I'm ready to leave. Yeah, that's okay. But you got to come out here and wait on me, and I've got 4 jumpers to do. So I still got to get your bag and stuff. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I'm going to go to these. It's just right here.
This is Mission Control Houston, approaching the 2-hour mark into today's spacewalk. Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold are making their way smartly through their respective procedures. Feustel wrapping up the playing out of cables associated with 2 wireless antennas he installed on the Tranquility module of the International Space Station, while Ricky Arnold is in the process of releasing quick disconnect lines from a pair of flex hoses on one of the radiator beam valve modules on the International Space Station. Those valve modules, those flex hoses, will be returned to Earth for repair, suspected of leaking. That particular valve module was vented of ammonia some time ago, so it's inoperable at the moment. It'll be put back into service when new flex hoses are flown up to the space station.
I've got a pocket caddy with a 6-inch wobble attached to a ret at the bag. I have a large, small. I have 2 vegetables. And I believe I picked up 1 extra ret on my mini workstation.
Andrew, did you use an adjustable from your mini workstation for to get the tie down the bag?
I did, and I have it back already.
Okay, copy that.
Aki, I've changed my mind. I'm right here near the M2. I think it's a really quick a really quick GCA, and I can get started on that. So if you're good for me to get started, I'm ready then for the GCA.
Yeah, stand by 1 second. Let me do this first, and then I'll hand over comm.
Okay.
So, Drew, do you have a large small on the outside?
Affirmative.
Okay, with that, we have a good inventory. You can translate back to the airlock and retrieve your green hook on the way.
Go.
All right, with that, Ricky, you have the comm. Go for GCA to M2.
Copy. I'll be ready for connector steps here in a moment. Okay,
Copy.
Victor, let's go body right about 10 centimeters.
Copy. Body right, 10 centimeters. Brakes are off.
Norishige Kanai is taking a hand at the robotic arm, the Canadarm2 robotic arm, to which Ricky Arnold is mounted at the end on a portable foot restraint. He's being maneuvered by Kanai, who has been switching off with Scott Tingle on the operation of the robotic arm. And Arnold soon will install caps onto a pair of quick disconnects associated with the flex hoses that have been removed from the radiator beam valve module.
One. Let's stop there. If you take me body forward, please.
Copy. Body forward. Starting.
85 centimeters.
25 centimeters.
5. Arm in motion.
Yes,
Okay,
we are in the
good
motion.
Okay. Continue. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's try that right there. Get ready to try these steps.
Ricky, GCA complete?
GCA complete.
GCA is complete.
Copy, GCA complete.
Brakes are on. You are go for the task.
The locking collar we're unlocked, Docky.
Hey, hold on. So just wanted to make sure that you're on M2, is that right?
M2, yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay, you got the booties removed?
Booties removed.
All right, let's go through the closed valve steps. So first of all, I need to read you the caution. Do not fully open a leaking QD, which is vented, so we should be fine. Rotate the locking collar to the unlock position.
Complete.
Check aft white band is visible.
It is.
Check that the detent button is fully installed up and can be depressed.
It is fully installed and can be depressed.
And it's up.
Now, it's hard to tell if it's popped back up or not. Now it did. When I took the bail forward, it popped up, which I think is the next step.
Copy. Prior and during bail movement, assessing camera silos.
Yeah, I just wiggled the bail a little bit and it popped up. Okay, copy.
While depressing the detent button, move bail forward to the open position with significant force. And reminder, just impulse.
Okay. And then I need the next step because I can't really hold it there.
Depress the detent button and move the bail aft.
Okay, it's aft.
Check forward white band is visible. Check that the detent button is up.
It is.
Okay, closed valve steps are complete. Moving on to the demate QD steps.
Okay.
Assess and counteract side loads.
And copy.
Pull back on the release ring and demate the QD.
Aki Hoshide here in Mission Control, walking through the various steps with Ricky Arnold for the demating of several quick disconnect lines from the flex hoses on the radiator beam valve module that are being removed and will be stowed for return to Earth for repair and replacement. Meanwhile, Drew Feustel has wrapped up all of the work associated with the installation of the wireless antennas on the Tranquility module and the routing of cables associated with those antennas. He is making his way back to the Quest airlock to stow the equipment associated with that task and to retrieve the bag holding the new camera port assembly that he and Ricky Arnold will be installing out on the Port 1 truss of the station a short time from now.
Okay, copy. And Ricky, just make sure that the mail is closed, mail QD.
Okay. You get any steps for that?
Just visually verify the mail side.
Okay, so the bail handle is fully aft. You see it in my visor?
Yep.
Okay. Are you happy?
Yeah, we're happy.
Okay, copy.
And we just need to verify the mail side, the structure side, that the valve is closed.
Side.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks closed to me.
Okay, copy. Yeah, we think we see it too. All right, Ricky, if you are happy with that, and we are happy, so we can have you move to M1 GCA if required.
Did you want me to put a cap on first?
We're going to do that later, but if you can do it now, that's fine. But make sure that you take a good GoPro picture.
GoPro, yeah, I already took the GoPro up to the mail end, and I was going to put the cap on rather than doing 3 GCAs after the last one.
Okay, copy that. We just need GoPro for both QDs, male and female.
Copy, yeah. I think I got what you need.
Copy, thank you very much. So you can put the cap on.
And through Drew Feustel's helmet camera, a good view of the Bigelow expandable module, the beam module that was installed a couple of years ago on the International Space Station. He is making his way back to the Quest airlock to stow equipment from the installation of the wireless antennas on the Tranquility module that was completed a short time ago, and to retrieve the bag holding a new camera assembly that he and Ricky Arnold will be installing out on the Port 1 truss of the complex. We are now 2 hours into today's spacewalk.
If you turn it back without engaging the pin, then it must be locked.
Yep, Ricky, we concur with that.
Okay. Can I pick up on the GCA down to the one just below me? I think will be your M1.
That is correct. That's the one that we're looking for.
Okay. Nemo Maker, if you guys can take me toward my feet.
Towards your feet. How much centimeters do you need?
Oh, probably maybe about 15, 10, 15.
10 centimeters to the feet. Motion is starting.
That's good motion.
Good motion.
3, 2, 1. Let's stop there.
Stopping motion.
Could you take the body forward just about 5 centimeters?
Copy. Body forward 5 centimeters. Motion is starting slowly.
Yes, and I got a good view of everything. The arm looks nice and clear.
Copy.
3, go. You in motion?
We moved only a little bit.
Okay, let's continue just a little bit more.
Continue.
And that's good right there, guys.
Are you okay for brake?
Let's put the brakes on.
Copy. GCA complete and the brakes on.
Copy, GCA complete. So first step for you, Ricky, remove the booty and then tether to the SPID using the red adjustable from your crew lock bag.
Okay, copy.
And you can do that after taking pictures.
I'll do it. I'll try to get some pictures with the camera too and get the GoPro. I should have gotten the camera out. I had it right here and gotten some pictures since we had daylight.
Copy.
Hey, Aki, just an FYI, scissors are closed, by the way. I went ahead and closed them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report.
Thanks for whoever caught it.
Yep. It's in the back. They're in the back room watching you.
That's good. Okay, the skid is on the rat.
Copy. So you said it's tethered?
Tethered, yep.
Okay, you can remove the SPID.
Yeah, keep back at the airlock.
Copy, and I see the thermal cover is open.
It is.
You can stow your medium ORU bag in the airlock and make sure that you can reach the PGT for get-aheads later if we need to.
Okay. Copy. Okay, Aki, I've got the lever on the SPID released. I don't want to put too many loads into this radiator. The lever's released. The SPID is not budging. Right again. There we go, got it. SPID is on in my crew lock bag.
Copy.
On the adjustable.
Copy.
Right.
We'll do the closed valve steps, and before that, let me talk to Drew real quick. So, Drew, you do the stow the medium ORU bag, retrieve the CP8 large ORU bag from the airlock. Oh, stand by. Hold on. And Drew, a correction for that. So don't take out the CP8 large ORU bag. We're going to send you over to check out the PFCS right after getting out the airlock.
Okay, so just stow this bag and
A-firm.
we'll look at the PFCS.
That's correct. So stow the bag, close the thermal cover, go up, and check out the PFCS jumper. And when you do that, when you go out the airlock, let's check, get a glove and hap and safer handle. All right, Ricky, back with you. Sorry about that. So you got the SPIDs out. We're going to do the closed valve steps.
Sure.
The PFCS referred to by Aki Hoshide in his exchange with Drew Feustel a moment ago is the pump flow control subassembly. That is part of the thermal control system components on the International Space Station. There is a leaking component around the area of the S0 truss that will be replaced by a spare on one of the stowage spare parts platforms on the truss of the station on the next spacewalk to be conducted sometime later this spring. So Feustel will take a look at some of the jumper cables for the leaking pump flow control subassembly and determine access and take some pictures of the condition of those jumpers in advance. No work will be done on those jumpers today. This is just a photographic and data collection exercise that Feustel will be conducting while Ricky Arnold continues to remove two flex hoses from a radiator beam valve module on the truss of the station.
Pull back on the release ring and demate the QD.
Okay. Aki, both saber handles are checked down. Gloves are no change and half is dry.
Copy.
And the bag is in the airlock.
Copy that. Let's close the thermal.
It's not released. That can work. I'm going to have to put a PGT on the plate clamp. The valve, the jumper's released, but that P-clamp, more than 13 turns, and it's still not released. So I'm going to go ahead and drive it just a little bit more.
Okay, before we do that, let's complete the demate QD steps. So the QD is demated. Let's check the release ring is retracted.
I can't really do anything until I'm able to completely remove the QD from the male end.
Okay, copy that. Yeah, you see that.
Released, but it's still stuck on there.
Understood.
Actually, do you want me to go down on the nadir side of the lab to get over to PFCS, or over the top?
Stand by.
That guy's released now.
So the jumper, Drew, the jumper is right above the CETA spur. So you need to go up.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you wanted me to go to the PFCS, not the jumper.
Not yet.
You can go look at the jumpers. Not yet. Okay, Aki, I'm ready to pick up.
All right. So you got the QD demated?
Well, you said you were going to give me some demate steps. I got
Copy.
The bail's all the way back. There it's off.
All right. So assess and counteract side loads and pull back on the release ring and demate the QD.
Complete.
And check the release ring retracted, meaning forward white band not visible.
Forward white band is not visible.
Okay, inspect the male and female QDs for debris damage or anomalous conditions.
I can remind me, the jumper's are on port side or starboard side?
It's right there on the starboard side. I think you got to go down a little bit. Yep. It's right at the top of the CETA spur.
I see it.
And you're looking for handrail 3438.
Yep, I'm here.
Ricky, go ahead and take pictures and make sure that it's good.
I got GoPro and I'm trying to get some stills.
And Ricky, GoPros are fine with us.
Okay.
And Ricky, Drew, do you have handrail 3438 in your view?
Yep, I've got my hand right on it. I see
Stand by, Drew.
I see a hose here, but I don't think that's the jumper.
Yeah, Drew, so you see that handrail 3438 that we're talking about? It's going to be under that handrail.
I think I see. Yeah, okay, I think I see it now. Hiding on the back side, okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, if you can put back that MLI, please.
Didn't work.
Thank you.
All right, Aki. Got GoPro and stills. These look good to me. I don't see any sign of damage. I'm ready to put a cap on the male if you're ready. It looks closed to me.
Copy, we are good with that.
Again, you're looking at the view out of Drew Feustel's helmet camera. He is at the S0 truss at the midpoint of the backbone of the International Space Station here at the 2-hour, 12-minute mark into the spacewalk. What he's conducting here is an inspection of the jumper cables associated with a pump flow control subassembly, a component that will be replaced on the next spacewalk to be conducted by Expedition 55 crew members this spring.
I can actually see the lock bend on it.
Copy. And for Drew, there's a MLI flap under that handrail. Yeah, you got it there. That needs to get released. And then on the zenith side of that MLI, there's like two straps that goes through an eyelid, which is on the structure.
I'm ready for the GCA.
And Drew, we've get an eye on it and then take a look. Make sure that you can put it back as it is after you completed taking out the jumper.
Am I getting the jumper, or you just want me to assess it?
And Drew, right now we would like you to just assess it. And if you're happy, we're going to hand over comm to Ricky. All right, Ricky, you have the comm next. GCA is the nadir QDs on the radiator side, M3.
How well are you expecting these booties to cover the QD with it?
Yeah, put the good reminder, pull the booties over the QDs as best as possible.
I'm going to try to tuck the NZGL in there too. Will fit.
Yeah, Ricky, the NZGLs, we can tuck it under the bag, so don't worry about it too much.
A good close-up view of Drew Feustel at the S0 truss of the International Space Station as he continues to make a detailed photographic assessment of the jumper cables for a pump flow control subassembly located in that area. That will be the subject of the attention for the next spacewalk to be conducted this spring. This pump flow control subassembly has been detected to be leaking somewhat. It will be replaced with a spare that is housed on ESP1, or external stowage platform number 1, out on the truss of the station.
Yeah, that's a good config.
Okay, let's come body left.
Copy, body left. How much centimeters do you need?
Let me just bring my, hold stand by 1 second. Ingress aid is taken care of. My bag is out of the way. I can see the boom. I probably need to come like 25 centimeters left.
Copy, 25 centimeters. We are going slow.
That's fine. Aki. Stand by. Good motion.
Good motion.
You.
Continue.
3, 2, 1. Stop.
Copy. Motion stop.
Again, a good view of Drew Feustel, extravehicular crew member number 1, wearing the suit with the red stripes today in the 7th spacewalk in his career, while he conducts an inspection, basically preparatory work for the replacement of a pump flow control subassembly that will be coming up on the next spacewalk to be conducted this spring. Ricky Arnold is still working for the removal of a pair of flex hoses from a radiator beam valve module that you see right here in his helmet camera view, 2 hours and 17 minutes into today's spacewalk.
You.
Continue.
You.
Continue.
3, 2, 1. Let's stop there. Okay, I'm going to ask you to take that yaw you put in back out now, and I'm going to try to negotiate around this thing.
Okay,
so
yaw
starting. Arm in motion.
Continue motion.
Continue motion. Very slow. Continue.
Continue.
Continue. You're going to have to bring me about 30 degrees around.
Copy. 30 more.
Continue.
Continue.
3, 2, 1. Stop motion.
Motion.
And I need body yaw. I need to come body left.
Copy. Body left. Moving.
Good motion.
Copy. Good motion.
Continue.
Continue.
3, 2, 1. Stop there.
Stop motion.
Let's see what I can do for. Actually, just bring me in just a little bit, about 5 centimeters.
The body in.
Forward. Yep. Three, 2, 1. Up there. If you can now take me toward my head, please.
Copy. Toward the head.
Probably about 10, 15 centimeters. I just got to get on top of this. I'm clear of the radiator beam. I'm clear of everything, Maker. It's snug.
Yaw and starting motion. Body, head to the head.
Okay, that's supreme motion. Very good. Continue. Continue. 3, 2, 1. Let's stop there. I think this is good enough.
Go any further.
Okay.
Okay, well, good. Yeah. All right, Aki, I'm ready for the. I'm on the M4.
GCA complete and the brakes on.
Thank you, Nemo.
Copy GCA complete. Did you say M3, Ricky? Correction, M4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can do that. Let me talk to Drew real quick. Drew, how did it look, that jumper?
The jumper's fine. I can get to it, but not from 3438. The place to get to it is from phase 5 by opening the big panel, because this hole right here is, I think, how they installed it. 3438, I could barely even get the Velcro back on. But anyways, the jumper's here. It's right in front of me if you can see it. This is it.
So, Drew, do you think you can get to it easily? I see you got it, your hand on it.
I can get to it easily, but not from 3438. It's going to have to be from phase 5.
Understand. Stand by. Let us chew on that a little bit, and in the meantime, we'll work with Ricky.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Ricky. So you said you're on M4, correct?
I am.
Okay. This QD has the low constraint for the QD bail. Just be careful. Just be gentle on it.
Here's my plan too, Aki. When these things come off, I'm going to tuck them to my right. Between my swing arm and my PGT, I do not want to do anything to my left. And then I'll have Maker get me out of here. He'll have a few less gray hairs, and so will a few other people on the ground. and then I'll reconfigure and bundle up the box nights when I'm away from everything.
That sounds like a great plan.
Okay.
All right, so for M4, remove the booty.
Removed.
Okay, rotate the locking collar to the unlock position.
Complete.
Check F white band is visible.
It is. Send button can be pushed and popped back up.
Okay, fully installed.
It is.
Okay, assessing counteract side loads. And while depressing the detent button, move the bail forward to the open position with significant force, just impulse. And then depress the detent button and move the bail aft.
At the 2-hour, 23-minute mark into the spacewalk, you're listening to Ricky Arnold talking to Aki Hoshide, but watching Drew Feustel here as he continues to work with a jumper cable for the pump flow control subassembly at the S0 truss of the station. He will be relocating that jumper in advance of replacement work for that component that will be conducted on the next spacewalk to be conducted by crew members on the space station this spring. In the meantime, this helmet cam review from Ricky Arnold showing the final steps of his removal of a pair of flex hoses from a radiator beam valve module on the truss of the station that will be returned to Earth. The two crew members soon will be moving on to the removal and replacement of a camera assembly out on the P1 truss.
You can be depressed.
Okay, and for Drew, stand by 1 second. Let me finish up with Ricky. Don't go anywhere yet.
I'm not going.
All right, Ricky, so the valve is closed, so you can retrieve the ret from the crew lock bag door handle and tether it to the QD bail.
I already have a red on it. I already have a red on the opposite QD bail because I didn't have room to operate.
Copy. All right, assess and counteract side loads and pull back on the release ring and demate the QD.
Okay, it's released.
Check release ring is retracted, forward white band not visible.
Forward white band is not visible, and it retracted.
Copy. Inspect the.
There's a little bit of corrosion that came out. It's actually just a small flake that is kind of heading outboard toward the solar arrays. It was dark. It did not look like ammonia.
Copy corrosion, and then you can tend the jumper to the bag bundle.
I'm going to put it on my side and leave it there until I'm clear of everything.
Copy. And Ricky, you're going to have to take pictures, GoPro pictures on the structure side.
I'll take GoPro pictures of the other side once I'm away. If you want the picture of the female end.
Okay, copy that. Yeah, we need the picture of the structure side before we move away. So if you can get that, that's great.
That's done. That is done.
All right, put the booties over the QDs and cap
M4. I'm leaving the booty where it is for now. I'll put the booty on after I'm away from the radiator. I'm just way too close, and I don't want to be moving around not paying attention to what I'm doing.
Understand. So you can cap M4.
This would help if I put the right size cap on.
Approaching the 2.5-hour mark into the spacewalk. Again, this is the helmet cam review from Ricky Arnold as he begins to wrap up work with the demating of a series of quick disconnects for a pair of flex hoses on a radiator beam valve module. Once it's all complete, he will give the a go-ahead to Scott Tingle, who's operating the Canadarm2 robotic arm, to back him away from that work site and over towards the Quest airlock so that he can stow the bag with the flex hoses back into the airlock.
What we're thinking is grab the jumper and then go over to the PFCS site. We can tuck it under the MLI cover. If you think we can get that done in about 30 minutes, we'll take that.
Okay, so we don't need me to move the light yet.
That is correct.
Big light's not coming out of the aisle. Okay. All right. I think we can do that in 30 minutes. I can get to it easily. Just want to make sure I can unwrap the jumper. So the wire tie. So stand by. I'll start on it, and I think we can get there.
Back with the view of Drew Feustel as he is working on some advanced tasks associated with the repositioning of a
and you're talking about M3?
Jumper cable for a pump flow control subassembly at the middle section of the truss of the International Space Station. All of that is advanced work in preparation for the replacement of that component on the next spacewalk to be conducted this spring. The International Space Station currently passing off of the northern coast of Africa over the Mediterranean on a pass that will take the complex and its spacewalkers just to the south of Athens, Greece. Coming up shortly, for those of you watching our coverage today on Facebook Live, Flight Director Emily Nelson and veteran astronaut Tom Marshburn will be answering questions on Facebook Live. We'll be conducting a pair of those segments between 11 a.m. Central Time and noon Central Time, the first segment of which will be coming up shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
It is fighting.
So, Drew, just wanted to confirm you got the red on and you are working the wire tie, correct?
Affirmative. I have an adjustable equipment tether that attaches the tail to the truss, and I'm releasing the wire tie from the other side. And then I'll grab it with the red and carry it on.
Copy.
Okay, Aki, the speed is off.
Copy. We'll do the closed valve steps.
I'm going to ret to it first.
Copy.
They got a red on it.
Okay. In about a minute, we're going to hand over, but you can move the valve forward to the full open position.
Okay, the VTEC button will depress and release. Forward.
And make sure the rotate.
I'm able to come out.
Okay. Locking collar is rotated to the unlock position.
It's already done.
Aft white band visible.
It was. Sail's on its way back.
Okay. Assessing counterlock side loads, and while depressing the detemp button, move bail forward to the open position with significant force.
Aki, so let me go through this.
I moved the locking collar, I read it to it, I pushed the D10 button, waited for it to release. I took the bail forward, aft white band was visible. I brought the bail back, holding the D10 button, and now the forward white band is visible.
Copy. Check D10 button is up.
It is and can be depressed.
Okay, closed valve steps is complete, and you are readied, so we're going to demit the QD next. Assess.
I think they're handover now.
You want me to go ahead and remove this jumper or wait?
Have you got all the indications of it being installed?
This is Mission Control Houston, just beyond the 2.5-hour mark into today's spacewalk. Ricky Arnold is wrapping up work with the removal of a pair of flex hoses from a coolant system component on the truss of the station, while Drew Feustel conducts preparatory work for the replacement of a pump flow control subassembly on the truss of the station that will take place during the next spacewalk this spring. With that in mind, we have been on Facebook Live all morning with our spacewalk coverage, and now we have an opportunity to go to the viewing room here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where veteran flight director Emily Nelson and veteran astronaut Tom Marshburn have been following today's spacewalk and who are ready to answer your questions about the spacewalk on the International Space Station Facebook page and here on NASA television. For those of you already watching on Facebook or those who want to head over there to ask questions, please submit your questions for Emily Nelson and Tom Marshburn in the Facebook Live comments section. With that, let's toss it up to the viewing room and Public Affairs Officer Megan Sumner. Megan?
Thanks, Rob. I'm here with Tom Marshburn and Emily Nelson, just as you said. Tom is an astronaut, and you have done 2 space flights and 4 spacewalks yourself. And Emily, as a flight director, you have led 6 space flights and actually led 5 spacewalks as a flight director. So thanks so much for being with us, and please send in your questions. I'm watching them on Facebook Live. We have a lot of people watching from all over the world, and we're excited you're here with us and excited to have you guys here to answer some questions. So first of all, could you tell us a little bit about what the astronauts are doing today on their spacewalk?
Well, from a big picture perspective, there are several different items that we're trying to get either installed or fixed on the outside of the space station. The first thing that Drew took care of for us was installing some Wi-Fi antennas. They're embedded into some of the handles that you see the crew members use to get around on the outside. And that's so that we can expand Wi-Fi on the outside of the space station, which is used by a number of science experiments. It's also used by our high-definition cameras. So expanding that network is pretty important to our future science campaigns. Then we are retrieving a couple of jumpers that we found to be leaking in an EVA last spring. So we're going to bring those home, take a look at them, replace them on a future EVA. And let's see, then we're going to replace a pan and tilt unit on a camera that allows the ground to move the camera around so that we can get really good high-def shots of the outside of the space station.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, maybe for you, Tom, we want to know, how hard is it to do a spacewalk on your body from Lindsay? What's the effect on your body?
The effect on the body? Well, it's quite interesting, actually. You're in a low-pressure environment, 4.2 psi. It's 100% oxygen, so that's a bit of a physiologic stress on the body. But what you really feel is the fatigue that builds up over the spacewalk time. They'll be there 5, 6, maybe 7 hours. Out there working pretty hard, working with their hands quite a bit. And also the temperature changes. When you see it go dark in the camera, they might start to get chilled, even to the point to where their teeth are chattering. And when you see the sunlight out, they could even break into a sweat. So those temperature changes back and forth add to the fatigue. The great thing is with the training and with the view and knowing where you are and what you're doing, you don't notice that usually until you get back inside.
Thanks. All right, we have a question from Christy. Her kindergarten class wants to know what they had for breakfast. So do the astronauts usually eat before a spacewalk?
Well, it depends on the astronaut. I don't know exactly what they had on their menu, but they probably had a lot of it, whatever it was. They can't bring any food inside the spacesuit with them. So they do have water, about 32 ounces of water. But they almost certainly had a very big breakfast. I suspect they've got some meat, they've got some scrambled eggs, they've got some oatmeal, and lots of fluids. That's probably what they had.
Thank you. All right, Brianna wants to know, how do I become an astronaut?
Well, you start right now, actually. Start being an astronaut today, and that means taking care of yourself, working hard in school, putting yourself into positions where you have to make decisions that have consequences, do all those things. And then when the time comes to apply, which is you need to have a college degree, you need to have either a graduate degree or about 3 or 4 years of work after college, just roughly equivalent to that. And then you fill out a government application, just like if you're applying for any government job. And after that, it's just a step-by-step process.
All right. And Emily, what about being a flight director? I think we have a special opportunity right now.
So a lot of the first steps are very similar, getting involved in science and mathematics early on, getting a good foundation in kind of engineering principles so that you are ready to make decisions about technological changes. And then we also require a college degree and some work experience after college. The difference perhaps is that we also require expertise or experience in high-stress decision-making environments as well. Traditionally, that's been here in mission control, but any high-stress decision-making environment would make you eligible.
Thanks. And if you look a little further down on our Facebook post, if you're on our International Space Station Facebook page now, you will see some posts about being a flight director. So that opportunity is available now, and you can get more information there. All right, from Jeffrey, is there anything you can compare to what being weightless feels like?
Boy, that's tough to do, although when I was a child, I would go into the swimming pool, hold my breath, and kind of float around at the bottom of the pool and pretend to be weightless. So swimming, scuba diving as well, those are great things. In terms of the technical skill required, a lot of astronauts have taken up flying as a hobby, rock climbing, that sort of thing. All of those things combined, I think, give you a feeling for what doing spacewalk is like.
Thank you. All right, for both of you guys, from Manish, how does the research in space help prepare to send humans on a journey to Mars and beyond?
This every day we are learning, even during the spacewalk, we are learning techniques to make all of working in space safer and more efficient. Having said that, the laboratory, of course, is a full-up national laboratory suite full of experiments where we're not only learning a lot of basic science principles that could very well affect not only our lives but space flight, a decade, 2 decades, 50 years into the future. We're also learning very specific things. There are carbon dioxide removal systems we're testing out to make sure when we're going to Mars that one of those doesn't fail on us. There's water recovery systems. Pretty much everything on the space station is something that we're evaluating for future space flight.
And of course, we're doing research on the astronauts themselves. We experiment with different levels of exercise and different diets and all of the different things that we need to understand in a little better detail to make sure that we keep our astronauts safe and healthy for those long journeys to Mars and back.
All right, thanks. We have another question about, they've noticed that it looks really dark outside, almost pitch black when the astronauts are in the dark today. So people are wondering if you can see stars when you're on a spacewalk.
A little bit tough to do that only because your eyes have to adjust. But if you get the opportunity to do that, yes, you can start to see stars. What's interesting is that they don't twinkle from space. And also the planets you can see quite well. Little solid discs of red, say, if you're looking at Mars. What really grabs you, though, is the view of the Earth, even at night, where you see forest fires almost anytime you look at the Earth at night. But certainly the city lights can certainly grab your attention while you're working.
All right. We have a couple questions coming in that want to know about training for spacewalks. So can you talk a little bit about how the astronauts train for spacewalks?
Yeah, well, one of the important things is working with Emily Nelson, our flight director in the flight control team, knowing how the flight control team works, how the whole team comes together to make a space flight work or a spacewalk work. Astronauts will spend a lot of time in the gym as well. Upper body strength, strength in general, fitness is extremely important for that. But pretty much all of our training, even the homework, the book work, getting very good at working with tools. If your hobby is to do car repair, that helps a lot. And so we all kind of gravitate towards those kinds of things to get us ready for a spacewalk.
And then when it comes time to execute a specific spacewalk, we uplink all kinds of educational materials specific to the pieces of hardware that they're going to be touching. So we have a computer system on board that can kind of let them fly through the spacewalk that they're going to be doing to get familiar with how they're going to get from one place to another and the different navigation paths that they might take. So our teams here on the ground will spend a lot of time putting together a good informational briefing, because frequently they'll train generically on the ground, but they may not get to see the specific tasks that they're going to actually do in space, and we'll do that kind of preparation after they're already there.
All right, thank you. And from the flight director side, is there anything special that you need to do to prepare to lead a spacewalk?
Oh, absolutely. We follow along with a great deal of the training that we do in the neutral buoyancy lab up the street, all of the training that the astronauts do. And again, if we aren't training the astronauts on board specifically for a task, if we don't know about it far enough in advance, we'll follow along with the astronauts on the ground that perform what we call development runs, or check out that the timelines are good. We also work with our teams to work through all of the malfunctions that could potentially happen, whether that's a bolt that doesn't want to get installed properly and we need to figure out what our backup plans are. I mean, we're NASA, we have a lot of backup plans. So we spend a lot of time together with the ground team just building those backup plans, practicing those backup plans, and getting ready to go.
All right, thanks. And we are here in the mission control room, and we have some people asking where the space station is right now. Where are the astronauts flying over that they are doing the spacewalk? So we do have a map behind us.
Top of Russia.
Yeah, they're right over
Russia. And it
Russia.
looks like we're actually flying right over Russia, so just so you guys know. All right. Another question about what happens if you were to become untethered? How does the tether work?
So that's something at the top of our minds all the time. Safety first, and staying tethered to the station obviously is very important. So we have this braided steel cable that's an anchor for us that's always keeping us attached to the space station, and it feeds out through kind of like a fishing reel. You might see it in some of the video. It floats up in the view of the camera every now and then. Don't want to have to rely on that, of course. So if the astronauts ever have to work hands-free, take their hands off a handrail, and we have what we call a local tether, one more tether that we can attach to the station. If you're a rock climber or a big wall climber, you know what I'm talking about. Everything has to be tethered all the time. Now, if all of that fails, we still have one more thing left. Have a little jet pack on the back of our of the backpack on the spacesuits. And that's a last resort, but we do train to, if we were to get kicked off the station and our anchor failed, then we would actually use this jetpack to fly back to station.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the training that you do for the jetpack, for the SAFER training?
Yeah, so we call it the SAFER, but it's a lot of fun. It's actually a virtual reality laboratory we work in. Just put on the headgear so we can see, every time we look around, we can see the outside of the space station. And then we are instructed to not do anything for about 30 seconds, and we will virtually be kicked off the space station spinning, and then we are expected at that point to be able to begin to use the SAFER, pull out the little miniature hand controls, orient ourselves back to the space station, start flying back. Nitrogen is the propellant. There's only a little bit in there, so we have to get good at it, and they grade us on how efficiently we've done that. And we're highly motivated to do well.
All right, thank you. So can we talk a little bit about this room, maybe you, Emily, some of the consoles, what's going on in this room now, and what these folks are doing?
Absolutely. Well, with a crew of 6 on board, only 2 of our crew members are outside. We've still got 4 on the inside. So we do still have work going on the inside on most spacewalk days. We've got control centers around the world who are all contributing to everything that happens on board all day long. So the focus of the energy today is going to be on the flight director, the EVA console, extravehicular activity, spacewalk console, and the Capcom console, capsule communicator. That's generally an astronaut that's here in the room doing the communication between the ground team and the astronauts on board. So they're the focus, but meanwhile, all the rest of the folks in this room are supporting the EVA in a number of different ways. We have a Cronus console that's going to be pointing cameras so that the ground team can see where the astronauts are. We can keep track of what they're doing. They're going to be running those camera systems. We've got a robotics console over here that's going to be helping support the robotics operations. When a crew member is on the end of the arm today, we'll have a crew member on the space station running the arm, but then as soon as the crew member gets off, our robo console takes over and gets the arm out of the way for him. Let's see, we've got a lot of the standard systems have to continue to operate. We've got to continue to support the science campaigns that are ongoing. None of that stops when we go outside. We've still got to keep all of our science going. So we've got our life support console, our power console, our motion control console, our network consoles. All of these folks are still working. And then, of course, we've got our ops plan console. They're pulling together the plan not only for tomorrow, but for the day after that and the day after that. So this team, when they get a few minutes, they're going to take a look at tomorrow's plan because the work just doesn't stop. We've got to keep it going.
Perfect, thank you. All right, we have a couple of questions about what the astronauts will do when they're done with the spacewalk. So Tom, can you talk a little bit about what's going to happen when they come back inside?
It's a long day, usually in the suit, 11, 14 hours perhaps for a normal spacewalk. And so what you want to do is get out of the suit. You're going to have to clean out your suit, but first you'll probably run to the bathroom. And then hopefully someone has prepared some hot soup or some drinks for you. Usually they're quite hungry and thirsty. And of course you want to talk to your crewmate face to face and talk about the spacewalk. What did you learn from it? What happened to you? Kind of very active banter amongst the whole crew as to what happened. But you're very quickly back to work again, cleaning up the spacesuit, finishing up the work for the day before you go for a long night of sleep.
All right, thank you. All right, well, I think that's all the time we have for our questions today. We want to get back to the spacewalk coverage going on, but continue to send them in because we will have another chance to answer questions from Tom and Emily just a little bit later. So keep sending your questions in on Facebook Live, and we'll try to get to them in a little bit. Thanks.
Fluid disconnect tool.
Thanks, Megan, and thanks to Emily and Tom. Back here in Mission Control, we are at the 2-hour, 48-minute mark in the spacewalk. Drew Feustel wrapping up work with the relocation of a jumper for the pump flow control subassembly at the S0 truss, the midpoint of the station's truss, while Ricky Arnold is wrapping up work with the removal of a pair of flex hoses associated with a radiator beam valve module that will be brought back inside the airlock of the station.
Thank you.
Flight Director Tony Sacacci has been talking to the lead spacewalk officer for today's activities, Grant Slusser, here in Mission Control, as they evaluate the progress of the crew's activities, the time remaining based on the consumables the crew has available to them in their suits, and determining how we proceed from here, with the next task being the removal and replacement of a faulty camera assembly out on the Port 1 truss of the station.
Look the right. There's a little bit of discoloration on the index finger. That might have been just from one of the connectors. It's dark. It almost looks like just some ink. But the RTV is all in great shape. There's no issues on the RTV on the right. The left is completely clean, no RTV. Half is dry.
Copy. You can ride the arm. You can prep the medium ORU bag because we're not going to use the crew lock bag anymore, so you can flip it to the medium ORU bag.
All right. Nice work, by the way, Maker and Nemo. That was a pretty tight space.
Drew, how are you doing?
Thanks, and excellent comm from you two, and I really appreciate the patience. It was good.
No, it's all good. And you look, I got a good view of the lower boom, most of the upper boom, the elbow's clear. My ingress aid is tucked in and no tether issues, so we're good.
That's good. And the next maneuver is JOCAS. And if you're okay, we're going to set up JOCAS.
I'll just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Copy.
Okay, Aki. Jumper is attached with the two adjustables, Vader aft and on top of the box. I had to flip it around because I think it only fits in one way, and I'm still not convinced it's going to fit under the MLI, but I'm about to stuff it underneath here.
Copy, best effort. And so you got both sides secured with an adjustable, is that right?
But do we really think this thing's going to fit? underneath us. Rubber's kind of rigid.
Gas about.
Okay, well, okay, maybe I got it. Oh, this works. It didn't work.
Andrew, back with you. So, if you feel like the Velcros do not attach for those MLIs, you can attach wire ties as required to secure the MLIs so that it stays closed.
I think I got the Velcro working.
Awesome.
Ricky, thank you for waiting. We are ready to start the JOCAS.
I am ready.
Okay, it's gonna be 1.5 minutes.
Copy. Timer's running. I'm getting closer to the arm. Your elbow's getting healthier. Baker's getting happier.
Happy, we are happy.
Okay, jumper's stowed under the MLI. Most of the sides are down. It's in pretty good shape.
Copy.
All sides are down. Copy. Some more complete than others just because of the sticking out.
Awesome. Hey, Drew, did you use any rets or adjustables to secure the MLI when you were opening it up? If so, make sure that you pick that back up.
Negative.
Okay, copy.
Negative. Okay, I'll call this complete. Can you guys see anything? EVA.
And Drew, one last check. Make sure that the QDs are not exposed. They are tucked under the MLI.
Okay, and I'm giving. Can you guys? Do you have a WVS view right now?
No, it's dark and ready right now.
The QDs are yep. QDs are completely covered underneath the MLI.
Okay, copy that. All right, Drew. Looks like you're complete there. So make sure no tethers tools are left, and you can head back to the airlock. We'll pick up the CP8 bag.
Did we make your 30-minute timer?
Okay, Ricky, we are ready to next maneuver, which is CP8 light position.
Okay, copy.
This one is GCA published. And
okay.
Do you and Aki any information exchange?
Yeah, thanks, Nemo.
Aki, I'm going to go back and get the bag.
Yep, so good call, Nemo. Just wanted to tag up with you guys on the big pictures. Stand by. All right, so big picture, you guys are doing awesome. However, MEDOC's limiting at 5 plus 50, and we're at almost 3 hours right now, PT. So we're assessing whether we can go into the CP8 task or not. But in any case, Drew, go back to the airlock, and then we'll make a decision when you are at the airlock whether we'll proceed or not. And with that, Nemo, you have the comm.
Copy. And Ricky, we have published the number. And
as we approach the 3-hour mark into today's spacewalk, that call from Aki Hoshide, the spacewalk communicator here in Mission Control to the crew outside the International Space Station, indicating that the limiting consumable being MEDOX that scrubs carbon dioxide out of the breathing environment for the crew members in their spacesuits. That is limiting us to about a 6-hour spacewalk today, and as we approach the 3-hour mark, an assessment currently underway as to whether enough time remains to tackle the replacement of this camera assembly out on the Port 1 truss, or to tackle a series of get-ahead tasks that are listed behind this camera port assembly. There's nothing urgent about replacing this camera assembly at this point in time. If we don't get to it, it can be easily rescheduled for a downstream spacewalk.
I'm ready when you guys are.
Okay, Ricky, and the correction for the distance, 1.5 meters motion is starting. Start DCA.
Good motion.
Copy, good motion.
You're flying to publish, correct?
That's correct. 1 meter to go.
Copy.